Hey, welcome back. The man on the street is still on the street, so we're not going to get to Derek just yet. We're going to come back to him in a little bit, and we do not want to lose our opportunity for Frank to correct all my mistakes. So we will get into the WTF What The Facts right now, when Frankie, every day, keeps our show honest and corrects all the mistakes I made in the show.
That's right, John. All right. Well, you've been pretty good today. See, doing a segment earlier, it saves you a whole other segment of making mistakes, but you did make a few. For starters, you began the show when you were talking about today being Little Christmas and all the other august occasions that happened on January 6th. You indicated that in January 1975, January 6th was the debut of Wheel of Fortune, hosted by Pat Sajak. Unfortunately, that's completely incorrect. The original host of Wheel of Fortune was, of course, Chuck Woolery, who hosted that program and did quite well with that show for 6 years before Pat Sajak even was on the show. So that's number one.
All right.
Number two, this is more of a clarification than a correction.
But it did debut in 1975.
It did.
The predicate issue was Today in History, the launch of the Wheel of Fortune, and it was there. I had the wrong host.
No, I know, but
I didn't even say it launched with Pat
Yes,
Sajak.
you did.
No,
yes, you did.
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Go to the videotape. You said hosted by Pat Sajak.
Every time we've gone to the videotape, you've lost.
That is not accurate.
So far.
Not again. That's another correction. Another clarification, John, is you were talking about today being Three Kings Day, and of course it is, and people do call it that. And you mentioned that the three kings visited Jesus and so forth. In the Bible, there is no reference to them being called kings. There are three wise men.
Three shepherds.
Well, they're not shepherds, so people do say that. So that's why I say it's not really a correction.
Well, Valdez said it. I just went with it.
But you went with it. Right. Additionally, John,
I'm that kind of guy. I'm the go with the flow type of guy.
You referred to Iran as the #1 Israel-hating country in the world. Well, that is not correct.
I think it is.
But it's not correct. You could think it is. Sisi thinks Ricky Gervais was being insincere when he told people to get their awards and move on, but she's incorrect as well. Now, the results, according to
on that and other things, I can
John,
tell you.
according to the Anti-Defamation League global
she's
survey,
over there shaking her head.
John, the Anti-Defamation League a couple of years ago did a global survey measuring anti-Jewish sentiment in 101 countries plus the West Bank and Gaza. And if you include the West Bank and Gaza, they are #1 in terms of anti-Jewish sentiment. If you don't include them,
what country is the West Bank and Gaza?
Well, there's some debate about that, but Israel, basically. Right.
So the #1 most hated country of Israel is Israel.
If you include the West Bank and Gaza, let's
that's
assume.
What I'm saying. So when you're talking about some, John, undecided piece of territory that Israel's claimed and other people have settled.
Let's assume we don't include the West Bank and Gaza.
Let's not include.
Closely behind the West Bank and Gaza is Iraq. According to the Anti-Defamation League, they reached an index score of anti-Jewish sentiment of 92%. So there's 10 questions on this 11-question survey about how much people have a negative attitude towards Jews, and a whopping number of them, 70%.
Well, where does Iran come in on that?
Not even in the top 10. You know why, John? Because Iran has the largest population of Jewish people in the Middle East, except for Israel. There's a tremendous Jewish population in Iran. So why would they be hating Jews and Israel?
Well, their administration and the mullahs and the ayatollahs or whatever they call them hate Israel and lead chants death to Israel.
That's not what you said. You said number one.
I said #1 because
Israel
I was
exaggerating.
I think they're right up in there. Would you agree with me that they're #1 state sponsor of terrorism?
No, that's Saudi Arabia going away.
Saudi Arabia. Are they #2?
I'd have to look into that. Okay, I'm not going to go along with that. Right, but then you were talking about the excommunication process, John. You indicated that it's cardinals, bishops, knights, and rooks that are involved in excommunication. Let's assume the knights and rooks aspect was a joke, which will give you. Cardinals do not have to be involved in the excommunication process. It's just bishops and parish priests. Additionally, there are all sorts of behaviors in the Catholic Church, John, that you're automatically excommunicated, even if the bishop doesn't do anything.
That's true.
So you don't need the bishop or you don't need the cardinal involved.
Well, I could tell you this. I was joking about the Knights and the Rooks,
Right.
because I'm an avid chess
You're a
fan.
jokester.
I'm a jokester. But speaking of movies, I mentioned before that I saw Uncut Gems this weekend. Uncut was underwhelming. But I watched The Two Popes last week, which Ricky Gervais was joking around about that too. But it was one of the most stellar movies I have seen in quite some time. Jonathan Pryce and Anthony Hopkins. Amazing, recounting the true story of, or at least based on the true story of these two popes who are still living 20 years later. But I make mistakes every day. I'm sorry. I'm new at this, but I'm trying to get better every day too. That's why I let him poke fun at me and correct my mistakes, so I get better, but I'm not. But we're going to take a quick break. Hopefully the man on the street will be back in the studio, and we'll see what people are thinking out in the streets in New York City right after this.